Oh, Fluttercord. These to make such a cute little pairing. Whether you support the ship or not, you cannot deny the fandom's creativity. But where it all started really comes down to the fandom, specifically one project in particular. Yet, over the years, this story, known as The Bride of Discord, has gathered quite a bit of fans and some rather harsh criticism, labeling it as toxic. Today, I want to take a look at that project, as it is one of my favorite things the fandom has ever done, and discover whether it deserves its criticism or its praise. Get your kid's ass out of here.
$4.97, $4.99, $500! Woohoo! 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 500! Woohoo! Woohoo!
All right. Do we have some celebrating to do today? What do you mean I looked if... Oh, yeah. Well, everyone confuses me with Discord himself. This way, I hope to distinguish myself from him a bit. I'll have you know, I am working out and getting into shape. I won't be as skinny as Discord forever. Oh, all right. I may have given my Discord persona a little more muscle than I actually have, but that won't be forever. All right. Are you going to just make fun of me, or are we going to tell them the good news? Who? The audience, that's who, you crazy droid. Hello. I'm Discord Jedi Knight, and that is G4. Don't worry, he mostly just takes care of the shit. Wow, 500 subs, it's incredible. I have all of you to thank for it. And how else can I possibly thank you guys than by giving you more of the content you love and want to see? So this week, we're going to be reviewing 3 audio dramas, as well as giving you guys for straight episode reviews. That's a week of content time rolling out all week long just for the celebration. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and if you're new, feel free to join me aboard my starship as we travel through the galaxy and learn the magic of friendship together. Yeah, it was a bit cheesy, wasn't it? Anyway, moving on, let's start the video, shall we? Good thinking. G4, let's take the TIE fighter app for a spin and travel beyond the normal MLP universe and dive into an alternate dimension known as the Bride of Discord universe. All right, I'll stop. The My Little Pony fandom is full of creativity, from original songs to visuals to fan fictions, making a fan movie that's a new one. Yeah, you're right. Movie isn't the right term, is it? It's called an audio drama. It has some nice pictures and maybe some clever editing, but it's usually more of a story reading than a movie. Today, we're looking at what just might be the first audio drama in the fandom never to be created. If it isn't the first, then it's clearly the most well-known. But to be honest, that comes with its ups and downs. Yeah, a lot consider it a toxic portrayal of relationships and thus demonize it as such, including the ship as a whole. Now, I'll be totally honest, I don't think having criticism is a bad thing. In fact, it's important to not only have it, but to take it. I made a video discussing the greatest lesson I learned from Star Wars. You can go check it out after this one, but to summarize it, I once thought that to critique something was wrong, that it had to be perfect, never realizing what kind of negative mentality that was giving me. Criticism is a good thing, and it's all right to call out its flaws. But it's even more important, I feel, to look at the lesson it tries to teach and judge it, whether it's a good story or not based on this metric. Does it get its message across in a good way? Right, G4, I better clarify this now before we get too far in. Okay, warning ahead had Fluttercord fanboys' opinion. If you don't like the ship, or even if you do, but just not the story, then feel free to tell me why in the comments. But don't just be a hater and say it's toxic because you don't like it, and think it's creepy. So this story is both written by and made by Disney fanatic 2364. She based this story off of a much older tale, Beauty and the Beast, a Disney classic that actually is based on an even older story by the same name. I actually love this about the project. I love how old classic it feels. And despite the audio drama itself, in the beginning having some subpar qualities, it gets better with not only every episode, but every viewing. That's right, G4. I look up to it in a way. Whenever I think of my own audio drama, which also has plenty of issues, you can't mark it down because of that, especially when both the art and the sound quality get better and better with each episode. But I really don't do reviews of that. You see, all fancy editing, visuals, and sound quality can really engage a story. All the actors did a wonderful job with the project. My main goal and focus will always be on the story itself. What is the story, and is it good or bad? So let's dive into that first. Oh, right. As Giefer said, links to both the audio drama and the story would be in the description if you want to check them out. Now, when I was first watching the series, the moment I saw him, I became a Discord fan. I really liked Fluttershy as a take on an introvert's perspective. Their episode, Keep Calm and Flutter On, quickly became one of my favorites. As the show went on and they had some more sweet moments, I really became a fan of the idea of them being together. Now, I myself am not really much of a shipper, but I do love a good story. If a romance is done well and makes sense within the context of the series and doesn't clash with everything presented to us, then I'm all right with it. But when a ship comes out of nowhere with no real material to back it up, like, for example, all the romances in Harry Potter that had nothing to the story and only served to slow down the plot, then yeah, I'm going to hate it, but Fluttercord actually enhances Discord's character to me, as well as gives Fluttershy more of a backbone. I liked that idea before I diving into the fan works, but as soon as I heard about this little fan-made thing, I wanted to check it out. Also, how cool is it that a fan made this? Sure, it's just some drawings, and from time to time, the art is a good try at best better than I can do. Though I'll admit the sound recording isn't up to the best quality, especially compared to other fan audio dramas made later on. This was the first of its kind, and wow, it's such a good story with a lot of love and passion put into the project. That alone overshadows all its flaws. The fandom from there only became more and more creative as time went on, to the point that some of the best LP material literally came from out the show. But the fandom itself, I would give it an A for effort, but what about the most important part of it? The story. Yeah, remember how in the show the main six turned Discord back into stone? Alright, well in this, he got away. 3 years later, everyone's moved on thinking he's gone for good. Except Fluttershy keeps having nightmares of his return. Well, now it's time for a gala night, and she sings the old song, Will Any Pony Find Me Someone to Love? Wow, whoever sang that was fantastic in this. But while the scene shows Discord isn't gone in fact, he kidnaps the princess. Cadence is even pregnant and in dire need to be set free. He first infiltrates the gala, pulling pranks until he's ready to make his move and surprise Twilight Sparkle. However, he is captivated by Fluttershy's beauty and singing. He snaps out of it and jumps on stage, revealing himself and scaring Fluttershy. I really like Discord here. He's creepy, disturbing, and a villain. Why, in fact, I feel like this is the most genuine part of him in all the fandom. Let me explain. Discord originally in the show started out as a creepy, disturbing villain who didn't understand friendship and gradually began to change his ways after making friends. It isn't until much later that a budding romance can be seen between them. No, the show never outright confirms it in the episodes themselves. But it's very much hinted at too much to ever be ignored, and so many consider it canon, as do I. Back to what I was saying, though. We really feel for him. He's lonely and wants a companion. I really feel like this audio drama captures him from the show quite well. Alright, so they all warn him to back off and don't want to hear him out, but Fluttershy at least will, and so he makes a deal with them. First, they can't use their elements of harmony against him. Second, he wants somewhere where he can spread his glorious chaos undisturbed. A request quite reasonable. And third, well, he doesn't know at first and thinks about what he needs in his new retired life from evil. He needs a companion, a friend, and gasp a wife. If he gets a wife, he'll let the princess go free. It said wife must go willingly. It can be anyone, he says, but it's clear he does want Fluttershy. However is it to be her choice. He does want to force it. I actually think that's interesting play on his character. He always does like getting into the head of Opines, and this is way of getting inside hers. At first, they argue over whom it's going to be and don't even notice that without Celestia, the sun will not rise. Fluttershy the knight has a bad vision of being in his clutches, and Applejack comforts her until she decides maybe she should be the one thinking she isn't special. My heart breaks every time I see this part of the story. She doesn't know her own worth. But Applejack decides to get an outsider's opinion and goes to see the ECRA, who basically says to follow your heart. She doesn't goes with Discord, and Discord keeps his promises. Now here, the real story begins. Discord wants to have fun with someone, a companion. A friend, it's all he needs. But she won't budge and refuses to marry him until she falls for him. Fine, all he needs to do is trick her into falling in love with him, and he's won. But when she's not happy, he truly starts wanting to see a smile on her face and hates seeing her tears, so he goes and asks Z, or A for advice. She straight up tells him to do something for her, not just a few silly gifts, but something she actually likes, straight from the heart. So he makes her a garden with all her animal friends, and she hugs him. Oh no, is he now falling for her? Impossible. And soon, in his mind, his reflection, his evil half tells him he's crazy, but he can't help it and falls for her. Hook, line, and sinker. They share a nice dinner and dance, and I even like Luna seeing this and thinking, how could he change? But then realizing she changed, and so could he. I really like Luna's perspective of her, showing her own character growth. In fact, most of the characters are within character, and I like that. Keyword most, but I'll talk about that in a minute. They share a month together and start falling in love. She even likes him too. But oh wait, it's now her birthday, and she just wants to see her best friends and promises to marry him if they become bridesmaids. Discord agrees, and they come, but when they tell them about the wedding, that's when things turn from bad to worse. They then pressure Fluttershy and ask if he's fallen for Discord. Discord was supposed to give them privacy, but listens in anyway, and she explodes, saying she doesn't love him and runs away. This strikes Discord in the heart and breaks it. He goes mad with power, forcing her to fall in love with him by hypnotizing her. The team tries to stop him, but they can't, and soon chaos erupts to the point where Apple Bloom is in danger. Hearing Apple Bloom cries, Fluttershy snaps out of the trance, scoops her up and saves her, but finds her friends all in danger. Discord then sings about how he'll fight and tells her to be his wife. She's terrified but agrees, hoping they won't be hurt, but then he decides he needs proof. A kiss will do. Rainbow Dash won't allow it and flies out. Discord has had enough and is about to swipe at Rainbow. But Fluttershy jumps in the way and gets hurt. Realizing his mistake, he understands he is a monster and sets them and her free. It was heart-rending to hear him yell at her to get away, and the acting is incredible. But Fluttershy remembers the good times. They hadn't realized she does love him. Her friends accept this, and they go back to see him. She's stronger, braver, and knows what she wants. I love her arc in this from being shy to a confident mare. It's incredible to see it's then the Timberwolves get her. Then Discord comes to save her. In the end, they confess their feelings. Discord does not her, and while she's not ready to be married, she does feel the same and is willing to give him another chance, a real chance this time. And a year later, they get married. Okay, so I love the main story, but I do have some issues with it. Disc G4, I still do have proper criticism of it. You're right, we should address the whole toxic relationship thing. So looking at this story, source material, a lot of people like to say that Belle from Beauty and the Beast has a stock romance system, which is Becky falling in love with her captor. Oh, yeah, in real life, it does happen. It's gross, and it is terrible. And while this is a funny criticism to have, I feel it actually paints the wrong picture of the story. The story isn't about how Belle falls in love with an evil beast. It's about how a beast, a man, can change for the better. Its lesson from the very beginning has always been about how someone can change for the better. And strictly speaking, being a man myself, I feel as though this is a good lesson to learn. Okay, so I get it. The age-old "you should be loved for who you are" concept. And I'd argue that in the original story of NLP, the fact that Fluttershy lets Discord be himself and gives him a chance is a good example of this. And yeah, sure, being yourself is important too, but that doesn't mean you're flawless. Discord in the show even states that because of her, he wants to be a better Dracon Equus in this scene. And that's the thing, while it's who you are, it doesn't mean you shouldn't acknowledge your own flaws, and strive to change, to be a better you and a better person. Labeling a toxic relationship on Belle or on Fluttershy, honestly, while it is a valid criticism, feels as though you're overlooking the real value and lesson that you can learn from this story. That is, everyone can change for the better. Everyone can do better. No, it doesn't mean perfection. Everyone has flaws, and it's okay to acknowledge those flaws. But to never want to strive and fix your worst flaws makes you, in the simplest sense, a loser. If you have no friends, no girlfriend, no love and want that, then perhaps you should look inward and fix your worst flaws and be a better you. No, you don't have to be perfect, but if you're not always trying to be the best you can be, then you'll never go anywhere in life. And yes, I'm speaking from experience. This is why I really love this story. Not only does it touch my little heart, but watching Discord slowly change, despite how scared he is to change, is something I really enjoy. And the fact that he actually did win her heart, but she couldn't show it for fear of what her friend think of her, only adds to the story. Those are my thoughts on it. Yes, I do indeed enjoy it, but like I said, it does have some flaws and not just the sound quality. Let's take a look at some of my own criticisms of it. First off, let's rip this off like a band-aid. The apple spike shit. Okay, look, I want to be perfectly clear about this. So many can get weird about it, right? Let's remember we are talking about fictional characters, not real ones, and so it's okay for it to exist. At the same time, I think, why the hell would you write that? In terms of the story, forget about the age, okay? I actually really do enjoy the reasoning behind this. The parallels between Applejack and Fluttershy in this bring their connection together and make her a great source, reliable friend to turn to because she can also understand Fluttershy. And by God, the voice. I know that Disney fanatic herself did Applejack, and wow, can that lady sing. That's all she does is beautiful. But I don't support this in any way, shape, or form. The fact is, he's a kid, not a baby, but a kid, though it's far worse if you consider him a baby. A crushing on Spike is just gross. And in fact, what I feel should have been done instead is to have had another character fill AJ's love interest instead. I feel as though a better match for AJ in this could have been Dash, and that could have been a great way to shed light on a gay ship, but do it organically and not forced, like in Daughter of Discord. That's a whole other topic to discuss some other time. But I hate this ships. I hate most ships. I'm alright with shipping AJ and Dash if it serves a purpose in the overall story, same with romance in general, to be honest. And in this it really could have. And I just, at the end of the day, think it's so creepy for her to have a crush on Spike. I'm not saying it shouldn't exist, after all, they're just cartoon characters. But whenever I watch this nowadays, I often skip the AJ and Spike romance plot altogether. Wrong, G4? In my days of consuming as much NLP as I could get, I'm afraid that this falls flat as the best the fandom has to offer. There are better audio dramas and animations, but this is one of the very first. It's the one that started it all in many ways. I give it an 8 out of 10, critically speaking, even though I do love the story a lot. And do consider this being one of my favorite MLP things ever produced by the fandom. It started Fluttercord after all, and I'm thankful for that. In fact, I have personally read Disney fanfics and other works, and at some point, I would like to review those. But as much as I like Bride of Discord, this is not her best work. I feel as though her best work is actually a story called Precious Blood, something I hope to eventually review someday. Yep, that's right, because we actually have 2 more audio dramas I plan to put out this week, and I hope you stay tuned for those. Alright, this is silly one of my longest videos. Sorry about that, but there was a lot to say in doing this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on Bride of Discord down in the comments below. I'm also making my own audio drama, which actually does have some Fluttercord in it. It's a subplot, not the main plot, but I hope you all look forward to Blood of Chimera Episode 3 coming soon. Here you can watch that. And don't forget to come back every day this week and celebrate 500 subs with me as I upload videos all week long. Yes, yes. Don't ever forget, just as G for here said, this fandom as well as friendship is magic.